to job specification. Job specification, as we mentioned, is related to the human requirement that indicates for this particular job position what kind of skill or, well, for example, personality, some characteristic that you need, right? So then you can list it up. Okay, professional, technical, and also manager or staff, of course, their job specification will be different. Okay, yeah. So, for example, you need someone they are more industrialist, okay, and their attendance, sort of, okay. So, and they also have some criteria related to some particular job position. For example, if you want to apply for being the flight attendant, what would be important?
License.
Flight attendant?
License.
Yeah, the height. Do you know why? Because they want to pick up the lady that's high and tall, and then they're more cute. Is that the reason? The tall, the better, more cute. Yeah. Yeah. So what's the reason? Exactly. They can reach the, the cabin. Yeah. Then otherwise, if the passengers are a bit short, and then they cannot reach, they cannot put their luggage there, then they can help. All right. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, then I think we complete the rest next week. I think we do not have that much left. We are on our page 29. Okay. Yeah. Let me quickly address for this slide. Employee engagement guide. Okay. What does one identify candidates who have a higher likelihood of becoming an engaged employee? Do you know what does mean by engaged employee? Yeah, that indicates that employees are more committed. That means they have more loyalty. They don't come and go, right? Yeah. So for a manager, how do you find a more engaged employee? Okay, actually you can conduct a personality test. Okay, later we also talk about the personality issue, because they are some personality trait, the characteristic, it shows that this employee, they have better engaged in their job. Okay, traits such as adaptability, passion for work, emotional maturity, positive disposition. Okay, if you have this kind of personality, it's more negative. Okay, well, it seems a little bit not this kind of person. They are not that engaged. Towards is not that engaged. Self-advocacy and achievement-oriented. Right. So if you want to look for some employee in the future, if you have the chance to be the supervisor, yeah, you can, take this, keep this in your mind. Okay, to conduct the personality test. Now it's very important, okay, in each industry. Okay, so next week we start from this subtopic 5. Okay, and the template for reading. Because for the readings, we have 2 different types of reading. At the beginning, the first reading, I give that to you. It's not empirical. Empirical, do you know what does it mean by empirical, right? It indicates it conducts this data analysis. So then, of course, you also have to know how to analyze for those tables, sort of regression tables. Yeah. So then, where you're conducting the presentation, you also I'm not asking you that you have to go for a lot of details, but at least you have to show your audience the result. How do you read the result? This is an empirical test. This is a study. Like for example, the hypothesis 1 is positive, but why? All right. But then this, the first one I show you over here, this one is not the empirical one. So our first reading also is, it's not the empirical one. So then this cover page, okay, and then some students, the previous students, they summarize a little bit, okay, objective, okay, and then they put the diagram, right? This is not the, not like, okay, so, yeah, it's readable. Okay. Yeah, sometimes you can also, make some, different diagram to make it more clear, not just copy and paste the diagram from the paper, it's more clear. And then, yeah, for the topic, you also emphasize it. And then if you feel like you're afraid of while you're doing the presentation, you might forget about some key terms, so then you can put some key terms in there. Do not put too many words on the slides, alright? Okay, this is acceptable. Before, sometimes I also see students that put so many words, it's like they just copy and paste the text into the PowerPoint slide. That is forbidden, right? And one important issue is do not read the script. I want you to talk to your audience. Do not read the script. Of course, there are some terms you can also, take a look at the slides and read through some sentences. That is okay. That's not from the first sentence. Read through the rest. Okay. If you do that, I will ask you to do it again next week. I will ask you to stop, right? Believe me, because before, some students, they did that, and I asked them to stop, okay? Yeah, because this is a presentation. It's also, you need a little bit training then, right? Okay, so sometimes you use some tables or diagram in your presentation, to make it more clear. It's necessary. Right? So, yeah, that's about it. I will upload this file to e-learning, so then if you need to check for further and for more detail, then you can check for it. Yeah, and this is the empirical one. The empirical one, okay, of course, the title page, put your name, yeah. And by the way, one more thing. I know students, you also divided your work. So for those slices are done by you, okay, please put your name, okay, on the bottom over here, right hand side over here, put your name, okay. Each team member's name, okay. And also put the page number. This is not a good example. Page number, okay, in the middle. Right, so this is the introduction, okay, because for the empirical paper, you will have follow the different section. First one will be the introduction. Second one will be the theoretical base and hypothesis development. For the hypothesis development, listen to me carefully here, okay. This would be the issue related to perceived organizational support. So then you just only put the hypothesis. Please also put the argument. How the hypothesis argument. What kind of argument has been made in that paper? So then it come up with this hypothesis. Okay. You don't have to list up all of them, but just some key concept. Right? This part, of course, it will be a little bit difficult for you, but it's very important because it's important later, when you are doing your thesis, you also have to do the same thing. Okay? So then if you do not train yourself to have this capability in the future, if you're working on your thesis, then you will have problems. Right? So it's the same. And actually, this is what we call as a hypothesis argument, hypothesis development. Okay, it's something related to logic. and it's in the paper. Actually, in the paper, if you tell me that, well, professor, I cannot really find the logic. If you don't understand it about it, read it again. If you read it for the second time, you can still cannot understand it, read it for the third time. Or you can discuss it with your teammates. Alright, it helps. Okay, because it takes a little bit time for you to be friend with the paper. Okay, so this is the third hypothesis. So as you can see over here, this is the argument has been made to come up with the hypothesis. Okay, and the third section would be the method. Okay, so the method part, okay, you can summarize for what has been mentioned, in the method parts. Okay, and sample. Okay, where's this data sample from, and measurement. How do they measure for this POS or PO fits or employee engagement, etc. Okay, these are the methods. Okay, actually this is not a good case. It does not provide a specific way, like identify how this POS has been measured. Okay, this is, actually you should go for more details, maybe other page. Okay, control variables, yeah. And results. Okay, this is a statistical result. You also have to list it up and illustrate for it a little bit. Okay, and this is a regression result. And generally, it will be better. For example, for this result, it's related to the second hypothesis. Yeah. So actually, because this is a relatively easier table. For some result, in some regression result, it cannot be identified that easily. It shows like that. So then it would be better if you could kind of highlight it, use something like this. You know what I mean by that? Yeah, so then you can highlight the part and then you can make some note. It's a hypothesis 1, significant or supported, sort of, right? Just make it clear, right? So, and discussion, future research, sort of. Yeah? Okay, so these are related to the paper. You want to take a look at the case one? Yes. Okay. You already got the case already? Yes. Yeah, okay. And for the questions to discuss, for the case, I will put it in the e-learning. I will email it to you, okay? Because for the case, there are some assigned questions, for you to analyze for them. So this is the case, cover page, and some guidelines, and the background information about this case. Okay. And try to address for the case background and what the important issue in the PowerPoint slide as clear as possible, right? Your presentation time will be around 30 minutes, right? Okay, try to make a better time control because we need to save some time for a little bit discussion, and also for the reviewing team, you also have to prepare for the questions then. Okay, so these are related to the background information. So after the background information, you started from this questions analysis, right? So start from the question, then down the bottom over here, it will be your opinion. But this is also not that appropriate because there's too many words in there. Okay, as I mentioned, because for a PowerPoint slide, it's different from the Word file. Okay, you don't put that so many texts in there. Just key term only. Otherwise your audience will keep reading for that, and then that is there's no power okay, of this presentation then, right? Yeah, so then the rest is the same. This is followed by the second questions, and then you also provide for your your solutions. Yeah, and then the solutions, because it's for all this topic, actually it's I select them, so it will be related to some particular subject. So then for you to how do you analyze those questions in the case? If you could base on some concept that has been addressed in the chapters, in the topic, that would be best. Try not to use your kind of intuition, basic intuition to analyze the case, because it seems like you have never learned about all this knowledge, right? Yeah. The reason why I give you this, is you have to bring a little bit training, because in the future, especially if you want to look for a better job position in the future, sometimes you also might be provided by this, very give you a very short time, then they give you a case, and then you have to conduct this case analysis. So now you have a little bit practice. It also help. All right? Okay. Questions or comments? Yeah.
Excuse me, how many questions will there be connected to the case?
I think January will be 3 to 4. Yeah. You're welcome. Okay. Questions or comments? No? Okay. So then, all the best. See you next week.